Hi everyone, welcome back to your weekly astrological reading. So this one we're going from July 15th to the 21st, and on Monday the 15th we'll have Mars exactly conjunct Uranus. This has been the build-up since last week, so we can expect things to really move into some place. Saturday we have Mars moving into Gemini, which we'll be talking a lot about it, whatever it is. And then Sunday we have the full moon in Capricorn, coming in 29 degrees of Capricorn, which is the second full moon in the last 30 days for it to be in Capricorn. But that 29th anaretic degree is intense. So anyway, let me take you through the charts one day at a time, and we'll just make the best of it as we go. Okay, hold on. Okay, so before I get started with this week's reading, I wanted to show you the three charts that predominantly we use in astrology in regards to the USA. So, and I want you to notice where Mars and Uranus are in those charts. Okay, so before I get into the Mars conjunct Uranus with demon star Algol and all of that other noise that I'm hearing from other astrologers, and some were saying that it's to do, or there was this one especially that said, but it's in the USA chart. No, it is not. And here's what I'm saying. Okay. Here's our USA Independence Sibley chart. That's and that is the correct way to spell it. This is our 1776, 4th of July, 1776 chart, 5:10 p.m. And it has been proven to be accurate because of 9/11 happened when Pluto was here, hitting our ascendant, and there's been other things if you want to look that up. But anyway, other incidents that happened if you want to look that up. So I trust this timing with this chart. And you can see Mars is in Gemini, Uranus is in Gemini, and they are nowhere near conjunct. So let's throw that chart out because there's nothing hitting there, okay? Here's our USA Constitution chart, September 17th, 1787. And here we have Mars at 29 degrees of Cancer. I'm sorry, Uranus, 29 degrees of Cancer. Mars is at 3 degrees of Cancer. Okay, again, not conjunct, not in Taurus. Okay, because this conjunction coming up on the 14th, 15th, and there. 15th, actually, it's exact. It's in Taurus. Okay, so next one. USA Civil War start, April 12th, 1861. Yes, we have Mars conjunct Uranus, but this is not the USA chart. This is when a civil war started in the USA, and it's not in Taurus, and it's when it started. By the time it ended, of course, 1865, Mars would have been, well over in here. Uranus still would have been in Gemini. And it's really important to notice, again, not in Taurus. And it's also really important to remember that Mars moves all the way around the zodiac every 2 years. So every 2 years we get a Mars conjunct Uranus, right? So that it's not that significant. What they're playing up is something being very big is this fixed star Algol. Let me bring this down. And so here's the chart for that, okay? Now, we don't have glyphs for the fixed stars, so you just have to imagine that it's right in there. Right in. I think it's beyond, actually. I think it's over in the, no, it's over here, if I remember right, like in the 50-something minute area. So this would be Mars already crossing over Uranus, right? We've been, remember when we had Jupiter conjunct Uranus, and that was supposed to be great, and a bunch of stuff was supposed to happen, and wasn't really that big of an event, right? It was probably good for a lot of us personally, but as far as events in the USA, I mean, we would probably do better, or probably be better off by looking, or more useful time spent by looking at when SCOTUS, dropped all this lower court issues onto, or taking away the FDA, EPA, USDA, and all of that. That's on the so-called experts in the lower courts. Well, of course, that all happened last week, and them giving themselves some type of like a green light for rewards, right? So, but anyway, I noticed that yesterday on AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez came out with the complete text, and she was on the floor presenting the case for impeachment. She brought forward articles of impeachment for Clarence Thomas and Samuel Alito. That is an event in the USA. Now, I'm not going to say that it could be something else that happens, this Algol, whatever, Mars-Uranus lineup. Maybe this is something in Ukraine that happens, or maybe in Russia, maybe even somewhere in the European Union. Because the last time that Algol absolutely lined up with Mars and Uranus was in 1942. And of course, we had, the Nazi genocide plan movement in action. So maybe this time there will be an intense rebellion and some type of a move towards freedom, because Mars and Uranus will bring that. We've already had Mars cross over. We've been living through Mars, catching up to Uranus, and nothing happened over here, majorly, except for, there's shock and awe and people afraid, people going into fear around Biden being president, or Biden, running for president, afraid that he won't win. And we do need to make sure that Donald John Trump never gets back into, back into the White House. But he didn't win in 2020. And then SCOTUS took away Roe v. Wade in 2022. So how the hell would that asshat get back in the White House when he's taken responsibility for it? How would he get back in there in 2024? It does not make sense to me. And we all know that the polls don't add up. We all know that young people don't take polls, and it will be the young people that will be voting and saving us all this time. But if we don't vote, then you can go into fear and you can sit in stagnancy. Well, Mars Uranus probably won't allow that, because we're pretty, motivated to do something in relationship with our self-preservation. That's what Taurus is all about, bottom line. It could have something to do with money, but I don't think, look what happened the last time the stock market crashed, when the big short happened, all of that going on, whatever default, just the ridiculous housing market crash. If I remember correctly, set me straight if I'm wrong, but wasn't the stock market at 14 or something then, and it, or maybe it was a little past that, but anyway, it totally recovered and went way, 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 way past. And unless you have a 401k or an IRA or something like that, or you have a pension plan, or you're invested, the stock market doesn't really matter when it comes to the economy. And the economy has already been proven to be way better than it was with Trump, even when they factored in COVID considerations. There was reporting out in the news about that yesterday, I think, or the day before. I think it was yesterday. So much happens in one day, I lose track. But anywho, what I remember was that Biden had added more than twice the amount of jobs that Trump had added. And inflation, they're saying, is going down, and the feds aren't so worried about having to raise the interest rate in order to curb inflation. So anyway, I'm kind of not so worried. And okay, here's another thing. Why worry about something that you can't control? It makes no sense to me. Now, if you've been flying by the seat of your pants and you haven't stocked up with food and canned goods and extra water, and you don't have a go bag for if there's an earthquake, you don't have go suitcases for if you've got to evacuate for a wildfire, if you've just been willy-nilly, living, then by all means, get yourself together, man. Don't live like that. It's not smart. Now, if you don't have the money to do that, then do what you can. Definitely do what you can. Always have a full tank of gas, or at least a half a tank of gas, whatever. Keep your eye on things. Or if you're the type of person that, and because they're out there, we have a lot of beings on the planet who feel very safe just getting in the car and going and knowing that they'll be taken care of. But then again, it doesn't always work. That type of thing doesn't always work. But if you've been living on the edge, and sometimes people do that due to their wounding, because that is one of the, it's just the way it works in life. If you've grown up in a situation like that, then it will seem normal to you, and you won't mind kind of living on the edge like that. But at some point, things will shift, and probably, you will start to take precautionary measures. So that's the only thing I want to say about this, is that, it starts off in the exact aspect at 7:05 a.m. on Monday. But the aspects really aren't that challenging, otherwise. And you can see that there's no opposition going on here. Now, when the moon moves over here, we'll talk about that later, but right off the bat with Monday, you can see Mars has the little, see these two little K's going upwards? Those are semi-sextiles. And those are not so challenging aspects at all. It's just a gradual movement, or if you're working on manifesting something, and in this case it would be to have more safety and security in your life, right? Because again, Taurus, so we're talking saving money, saving food, saving resources, basically, bottom line resources that take care of your physical needs. Now, being that it's in an earth sign, it's possible that there's an earthquake somewhere. There are earthquakes all over the planet every day. How many? Well, you can count. Just go on USGS, website, and it's quite something to watch if you ever have time. So, but anyway, these are two pretty good aspects coming from both Mars and Uranus. So remember, Mars, the movement, the drive, the energy to have more safety and security. Uranus could bring through that awareness. That's my prayer, is that you all have that deeper awareness that you do need to save food, you do need to save money, you do need to have a go bag, you do need to have, if you have pets and critters, you have to pack those things for them too, right? And then noticing the two little semi-sextiles, they connect over here to most of all Eris in the tightest degree, but Chiron is influencing Eris. And Chiron in Aries is all about survival as well. But it's that sometimes impulsive, we have to be careful with that, with impulsive, like fear, or just impulsivity, period. And Uranus could bring something like that through. So we want to be careful with that. But I'm noticing mostly that it's really just hitting Eris. Now, Eris, of course, she's our, kick butt feminine warrior who hasn't been going anywhere for the last how many years in Aries. I mean, she takes 56 to 58 years to get around the whole zodiac. So this is our fight against the patriarchy, honestly. This is our fight against a monarchy. This is in the USA. This is our fight against other people having power over our own survival. So there's this buildup coming through because Uranus is just sitting here for now, and it will go retrograde. Uranus will go retrograde on September 1st, and it'll go back to 23 degrees. So Uranus is going to be in tight range, in this semi-sextile aspect to Eris, all the way through to at least, it's going to be even beyond then. Uranus will go retrograde September 1st, and it'll retrograde back to 23 degrees of Taurus. So still within range here. That'll be 2 degrees when it makes it back there. And then it'll go direct on January 30th, 2025, but then it's going to take all that time to get back to 25, 26. So, we can figure at least a good year from now, we're still going to have this aspect. So this is that, again, gradual effort to build and manifest safety. Movement towards safety, okay? Courage and movement towards safety. So there's that. Okay, also this semi-square here from Jupiter over to Eris, there's that action. The semi-squares bring in the need for action. Semi-squares are a little bit like an itch, and you just want to scratch it. There's friction. There can be indecision. You're not sure which way to go. Well, gather information, reflect on the past, because remember we had the inconjunct from the south node, Jupiter with the south node, so that it's the south node has moved backwards and Jupiter's moving forward, so they're going away. It's a separating aspect. But anywho, with the inconjunct to the moon, the Scorpio moon, now the Scorpio is also focused in on safety and security, but it doesn't mind fighting. Scorpio energy doesn't mind digging its heels in and really leaning into whatever needs to happen in order to create more harmony in life. It doesn't mind the conflict, basically. But they're both fixed, right? And you can see the moon's at 11. It's headed this way, so we're going to have the moon opposing both Mars and Uranus. And that could definitely bring through some confrontation, but also some breakthroughs. But we'll talk about that when I move the chart forward. Let's see. We also have today this other inconjunct here. So inconjuncts bring through the need for an adjustment, and because something's not right. Now, research is one of the hallmarks of Scorpio. So there could be research, to gather more information and learn more, because that's what Jupiter and Gemini is all about. It's growth through information. Now, also Mercury ruling Gemini and Virgo, Mercury in Leo now at the 19th degree, so that the second decan of, again, learning lessons of courage when it comes to Mercury in Leo, but sometimes it's just a lot of talk, and hopefully the action comes through. But with gathering information, the willingness to work, the willingness to research, and with the sextile over here to Ceres coming off of the moon, again, in Capricorn, there we are with that opportunity, but we always have to work for whatever it is we're trying to manifest. But again, to be safe and secure, and to nurture even further what we already have. And because remember, Ceres went retrograde. I started in the retrogradation process, started at 21 degrees of Capricorn, and it'll go back to 7 degrees. So it's about midway through the retrogradation process. It won't go direct until late in August, towards the end of August. So the moon really is holding this, especially today, this possibility to really, research and understand what it is you need to do to create more security in your life. And maybe it's about making things more simple. The moon in Cancer can help you with that, especially when it comes to your home and, creating safety and security in your home so that you can really just settle in and relax. And with, again, back to Mercury and Leo, we're moving into the third decan, where there's a deepening of whatever we've learned this last, the last couple of weeks. And with the inconjunct hitting Saturn, pretty much exactly right there. Same degrees, just minutes apart, but no big deal there. With the Mercury to Saturn, it's about getting serious. It's time to move forward with everything that you've got, and whether it's your creative self-expression, but it also would be your creative self-expression is how you move through life. So sometimes it doesn't mean words. But we all communicate, right? Through our bodies, through our actions, and our words. But there could be adjustments based on the fact that, now SCOTUS has dropped all this crap on us and then gone off on their vacation. And here we are left to just, we're kind of flabbergasted, but we're feeling victimized. Saturn in Pisces will do that. And Saturn's retrograde as well. Will continue to be retrograde until November 15th this year. It'll go back to 12 degrees. It's at 19 now. So, there's a lot there. It's when Saturn's retrograde, we get to, do over and go back and figure out, okay, where am I feeling victimized? Where is my energy all over the place? What do I need to take responsibility for in my life? Because it's all about self-responsibility. We don't get freedom without self-responsibility. We just don't. So, plans to vote, plans to speak up, plans to not take it anymore, whatever it is that you have to do. The important thing is to trust your intuition, trust your sensitivity. Your body is trying to, help you understand how it works better. When Saturn's, in Pisces, we're all more sensitive. And especially we're more sensitive to what the government is doing, because the government is ruled by Saturn. So there are those adjustments going on. Now, also, the Sun is squaring Chiron exactly today. So with the Sun in Cancer, Cancer wants to just, create security, just like Taurus does. But, at this point, with Taurus, we have a body. And, moving through Gemini, we figure out ways to communicate and take care of our bodies. And then by the time, if you're just kind of thinking like in evolutionary terms, basically with Aries, you're like, I'm here. I have a body. Oh, I can talk and communicate. Oh, I need shelter. Right? So So with Cancer, it's about having that protection, having that shelter so that you can lay down roots, so that you can nurture the things in your life that you want to grow. And so those are the questions to ask yourself. What do you want to grow, and how hard are you willing to work for that? Think of a big strong man that's deciding, I'm building a house for my family. We're not moving around this tent anymore. We're not hiding in caves anymore. I'm building a house, right? Just think along those terms. And then you've got, the feminine spirit and nurturing everything within and taking care of the man so he can build the damn house, right? It just take yourself back and think. And but now here we are. Most of us have very comfortable homes, and here we are faced with this challenge as to how much do I matter? Chiron and Aries will always ask, how much do you matter, and how much are you moving forward independently? How much have you stopped abandoning yourself? How much have you been, or how able have you been, to what degree have you been able to control your impulsive issues, like your impulsive fears of abandonment that make you push yourself out onto others and then create that abandonment because they don't like being pushed on, all right? Or running in the other direction in fear and they don't even know where you are, and the fight or flight kind of thing can happen. So there's the need to, when the sun's in Cancer, there's a need to connect and protect. But what we're wanting to protect, of course, would be the most vulnerable, the whatever is new, the things that are new that we're trying to build in our lives. So, with Chiron in the last decan of the sign, we are deepening in that department. And the way Chiron works is that when we do all of our, our work we do our shadow work, we embrace all the shadows, we embrace the wounding, we embrace the trauma, and we don't run away from it, we process it through, then our gifts come through. And with those gifts, we can help others. But we get to heal ourselves first. And that's, it's a privilege to help others, but you have to do your own healing work. Or you could be involved in a group experience where everyone's working on their healing at the same time. But, we've got cardinal movement-oriented energy with Aries and Cancer, as well as Libra and Capricorn. So, we're moving forward, or movement is happening, I should say. Movement is happening whether we want to get on board with it and take charge, or whether we want to, like, imagine you're on a little boat, or you're on a ship. No, not a ship. That's too heavy and big. A boat of some type, and a storm comes along. Are you going to paddle or move or cruise right into the wave so that it doesn't top you over, or are you just going to let go of the wheel and go, below the deck and go, freak out? Or if you're in like a little dinghy, you would know right away where that's going to get you because you'd flip over and drown. So what do you do with your ship? That ship is your life. It's your body. It's your power. So there's a lot of movement going on here. And maybe this Mars-Uranus conjunction with this fixed star Algol close to it, maybe that is the intensity to get us to either rebel, or maybe it's both. Maybe it's a little bit of rebellion. It's definitely going to be intense. Mars and Uranus will bring that through just alone, but then you add that fixed star in there that is all about intensity. We've got double dose. So which way are we headed? Like towards our freedom, or are we just going to, because that could happen. People could double down and rebel to move at all and not take in any outside information that's coming in. The thing is if you know what's going on out there, then you realize you have more choices and you can make better decisions. But if you want to, like I was saying earlier with Taurus, you do have to be careful of being like the frog in the well, that doesn't want to take in anything more because that would initiate change or the need for change, and they don't want to change. So we have to work on that. When it comes to Taurian energy, Taurus doesn't like getting stuck, but then they tend to not always want to move. Or they have to be kind of, come on, it's okay. Well, we can help, to feel safe. And Cancer can be the same way too. And Cancer can be super crabby because, it's a crab. It's a sign of the crab. It's like, okay, I'm coming. Like that kind of thing. Make me come out of my shell, damn it. So, yeah, whatever it takes. I don't care how much people complain. I'm open to all expressions as long as they're kind. And, yeah, as long as they're kind. So, and if they're not, those are the comments I just delete, and I usually block that person from making another comment. Let's see, anything else? I've got that. Okay, the sesquisquare or sesquisquadrate, however you want to pronounce it, coming from Saturn over to Venus. Now that can be some stubbornness. Somebody really, really wants something, and somebody over here says, no, you can't have it. Or if you want it, it's going to cost you. There's going to be quite the price to pay. So again, patience. I'm feeling like patience will be the thing that gets us through this event. And patience is, it's a virtue, right? I mean, we all need patience. And then sometimes we need to go. Sometimes we need to move. But if we have, like I said, we've done our homework ahead of time, taken the precautionary measures ahead of time, then we're going to be just fine. And like I said earlier, it does no good to worry about things that you have no control over. Just take care of yourself, take care of your loved ones, take care of your own life. Do the best that you can with what you have. And take a stand against cruelty and lies, and because we are headed. Mars is headed towards Jupiter. Mars will head into Gemini very soon. I think it might even be next week. I can't remember, but anyway, because Mars moves pretty darn quick. Mars conjunct Gemini, of course, will be some type of information war. We're already in information war. I mean, that's been going on since Alex Jones probably took his first breath. But anyway, let's move forward. Tuesday, we have a lot of aspects with the Scorpio moon. So starting off, I clock the chart at 6 a.m. and you can see that we have the trine to the sun. Okay, it's not exact, but I'll move the chart forward for you so you can see the other aspects. But the most important thing we have, besides the square, from the sun to Chiron that we still have today, and these other aspects over here, I won't go over those again because we've already gone into that, but they're still in effect on Tuesday. And then the thing that we can look forward to on Tuesday morning is this trine to the moon. So there's an easy flow of energy, and I absolutely love Cancer and Scorpio energy mixed together because, and Pisces as well, because it's, we've got that psychic union there. We have the cardinal energy mixed with the fixed, and sometimes the cardinal energy can get us going, and other times the fixed energy can say, okay, no, now stay here and wait. Or you know what you want, and you've put it in motion for that growth to happen, whatever it is. Now with the Scorpio moon, there's the ability to transform anything that's not working. So this will get us going in the right direction. And sometimes it means that we stop and wait and dig our heels in so that we can, just sit in it and have more control over whatever it is that you're trying to, bring through. And then with Saturn in Pisces, even though there's not an aspect, if that happened in the middle of the night, that might have brought through a very powerful dream from between Monday and Monday night, Tuesday morning. That's very possible. That could help you understand something, coming full circle. We would have had that water trine in the middle of the night. Or no, actually, no, it wouldn't be a trine. It would just be the two trines, two trines, not an actual water trine, because that would have required the sun being at 19 or somewhere in there, 18, 19, and then, on over. So anyway, you can see the two sesquisquares here coming off of Ceres. Now remember, Ceres is our protectiveness and our loyalty to nurture the things in our lives that matter, which we have to think, chop wood, carry water, food, things like that. And which is why Ceres rules farming, and then also the feminine and the things that a woman goes through during her life with her reproductive system. Now, with the sesquisquadrate, because Ceres is also connected to grief and separation, there could be some stubborn holding on to be careful not to create any grief or separation. So I like this. I absolutely love these two sesquisquares here, because they're maybe helping us. They may be helping us to to hold on to something that could need to be held on to, and I wouldn't define that as stubbornness. But oftentimes the sesquisquadrate or sesquisquare will bring through a detour or something disruptive to help you take on a new track. And we have the Scorpio moon to help us with that. So let me sneak forward a little bit. Let's go to the hours here. There we go. And then so at 8 a.m., let's go 2 hours. 8 a.m., we have an extra sesquisquadrate to the north node. So again, there's something with the Scorpio moon that's helping us to understand, we're going to have to get around something here. And we also have the semi-square to the south node. So there's action that needs to be taken, and we've got this adjustment that's needing to happen, because look at the moon in this inconjunct to Eris. So courage is needed. A detour is probably will be there, and then we'll need to take some action in order to in order to make things better. But the problem is with the semi-square, it's not a square yet, and we don't know which way we want to go yet, but we do know that we have to make a change. And then sometimes, and I love this together with Libra and Scorpio. Sometimes the little sesquisquare when it happens, or I'm sorry, semi-square when those come in, can relate to a person receiving some on-the-job training, and that's actually a really good thing. When that happens, and when that happens, you're trying to decide, actually, is this the job I really want? And they're willing to put their energy and invest in you. And it doesn't have to be a job, but maybe it's something else that you're trying to decide, do I really want this? Right? Now, the moon at that last decan of the sign of Scorpio, we are deepening into wisdom. We're deepening into, just trying to bring through the opportunities that we really want to have. Because Sag comes next, and then there's a lot of fiery movement. So there's processes, going on when we have the moon in Scorpio. The only way to mess this up is to be really selfish and be like an energy vampire, where you're just sucking all the energy out of the room and no one wants to be around you and people are running away from you. But with the trine to the sun, I kind of doubt that, that's what it's about. But some people are like that, If you have a crabby Cancer, and an evolved Scorpio. If you have an unevolved Cancer and a crabby unevolved Cancer and an evolved very high level Scorpio, they're gone. They're like, no, go, not having anything to do with that. Or the other way around, if it were a evolved Cancer and an unevolved Scorpio, the Cancer would retreat into its shell and it wouldn't fight, it would run, right? Because it doesn't want to play with that. It doesn't want to get stung. So anyway, is there anything else? I think that's about it for that morning. But let's go forward. I'm going to go forward another 11. Okay, we have the Scorpio moon in conjunct Eris, and that's important there. It's also opposing Uranus. See, exactly here, 26 to 26. There could be a very real confrontation. Now we've got fixed earth and fixed water. Water and earth mix really well together. I mean, the water needs the riverbank to hold it in. They can't work without each other. Water would just go everywhere. But fixed water can be stagnant. And fixed earth can be it can be a mountain. But with Mars there, I kind of feel like, we do have, with Mars, Uranus, and Taurus, we do have the possibility of, like I was saying before, earthquakes. And I hope it's nothing like that for anyone. But with the opposition here, it can lead to a breakthrough. We just don't know if it's going to be like actual Earth or if it's a breakthrough financially to where you're more independent, or maybe joining forces with other people who have more resources than you, and vice versa. Like we're all resourced in different ways that are very complementary, I can't say it. Forget it. Complementary. Yeah, that's it. Complementary. Watching too much British TV, and my accents are all off. I don't have that kind of accent, but my words are off. And I'm famous for making up words anyway. Okay, so, or I should say not famous, but it tends to be some of those things that I do. So confrontations, and it literally could be a Taurus to Scorpio, Taurus person over here that's like, there's too much change, I'm scared. And the Scorpio's over here going, come on, man, we got to go. And they work together. Or it can be at odds and fighting with each other, and that eventually there will be a breakthrough. So there's a lot going on Tuesday. And then, of course, like I said, the in conjunct, that need for an adjustment if you want the independence. And with the in conjunct from Ceres to Jupiter, if you want the growth, you need the information, and then you need to do the hard work. So there are adjustments, abound going on. And then also, if I go forward, at 1 p.m., the moon's still in Scorpio, but now we have this little semi-square here over to Ceres. So again, that need to, there's some type of a friction going on, and maybe some indecision. But with the moon now, moving away from its conjunction with Uranus, but now Mars, the moon to Mars, movement's going to happen. The thing is, what I can't say is, if it's two people, I can't say if they're going to come together and have sex, if they're going to come together and fight, or if they're going to run away from each other. Is it bumping uglies, or is it flipping the bird, man? What is it? You guys let me know how it goes for you. Let's see, and that's at 1 o'clock. Is there anything else? No, it's not. The other ones that I want to look at aren't until Wednesday. So let's go ahead and go to Wednesday. Okay, Wednesday, 5 a.m., The moon's in Sag. The moon actually comes in much earlier in the morning. I think it's like something like 1 a.m. or something, but there was no use in running a chart that early in the morning. So anyhow, the moon in Sag brings in a completely different mood, right? So Sag is all about being on your path. There's inspiration. It's ruled by Jupiter. There's direction. It's very, focused on moving in a certain direction. Sagittarian people are good at speaking up. They're good at telling stories. They're good at writing stories. They're good at just, doing something. It's a fire sign, right? So for the fire signs, we have Aries, Leo, and Sag, of course. And to have Mercury and Venus in Leo, they're in moving a little closer together, but there's a lot of fiery energy. When you look at all the Aries energy over here and 2 planets in fiery Leo, and now we have the moon, there's some complementary movement, I would think. But the other aspect that I like to see is the sun in the sextile over here. See how the sun's at 25 degrees Cancer, and then Uranus is at we could bring Mars in there too. It's only a couple degrees away, but I feel like there's there's fire and cardinal energy, so it's a lot of movement oriented energy, but also trying to create stability, trying to have stability and self-preservation. And I think the one thing I can say for sure is that probably by this point, most people know they really do need to, create more safety and security in their lives. The simple things. Keep your life simple, and stock up and, make sure you've got that extra water and food and everything else. Like I was, speaking of before. So let's see, anything else? So far there aren't any aspects to the moon, but we do have, if I go forward, let's see, all the way into the afternoon, I think it's after 4 p.m. There, okay, there's 4 p.m. there, and you can see the moon's at 11 and Jupiter's at 11. It's not exactly, but the moon opposing Jupiter. Now, it's interesting because the moon rules Sag. I'm sorry, Jupiter rules Sag. The moon in Sag is in alignment with its planet. It's governing planet. So remember again, like I talked about before, Jupiter is always growth and expansion. Well, sometimes it can be excess though too. In the sign of Gemini, hopefully it's growth and expansion of learning. And now with the moon in Sag, there's some higher mind learning coming in as well. So it can be like, well, I thought I had it all figured out here, or I'm, because we're in the second decan, right? So we're learning more and more. We've learned a lot, and the lessons aren't that deep yet. But now with the Sag moon, now we might be a lot more curious to look even further and learn even more. And if you're focused on growth and abundance, and if you're focused on, spiritual law and natural law and wisdom and truth, most of all, Jupiter in its highest level is about, what is really true, right? I have my own personal truth, but what is the absolute truth in the universe? So, of course, I believe everything's was created from a state of love, and that's the natural mold of our existence. But, we all get to come here and mess everything up. So, anyway, there could be some confrontations that way because there could be something somebody says, and the one over here goes, damn it, I thought I had it all figured out. I don't want to change it. I don't want to change the plan. I don't want to put in changes to whatever it is you're bringing in over here. Meanwhile, All this is happening during the RNC, the Republican National Convention. Yeah, the moon in Sag is very political, but I don't think a lot of people are going to like what they're hearing. Probably the NRA will be there. Probably there'll be just a lot of trash going on, and we'll hear about it, and then we'll be talking about it, and a lot of us won't like it. So there's that. And let's see, anything else for Wednesday? I think that's about it, except for, later in the evening, the moon will just continue on. And, but there won't be there won't be an opposition. So let's just go ahead and go to Thursday. Thursday, 5 a.m., like you can see, the moon's still in Sag. It is square Saturn. So there is some serious information that has been put out there, and maybe it's victimizing some people and they don't like it. There's a political agenda that's out there. Sag rules politics. Jupiter ruling law, man-made law even, we could say, can be political. But there's some information, I think, that comes out, and there's too much risk at hand, and the moon is, now in that second decan. We are learning, we know even more about what the Republican agenda is, which is basically Leonard Leo's and the Heritage Foundation's Project 2025. And if you don't know what that's all about, I invite you to go online and you can download the text even. I think it's 900 pages. I doubt you're going to want to go through it, but basically it's pretty much, from what I've read of it, and from what I've read as to what most Americans want, 90% of Americans would be directly opposed Project 2025. And this is the GOP agenda. So good luck with that. And remember, the only way they really win is if we don't vote. They don't steal your votes. The votes aren't rigged, but they gerrymander, they redistrict the hell out of places so that it makes it harder, and then they want you to be hopeless so that you don't get up and vote. That's how they win. Remember, 2016, 57% of Democratic voters did not vote, and that's how Hillary lost, and that's how Trump got in. So there you are. Notes from the past, right? Okay, Saturn square the moon. I think I've just told you what that was. Think smart about the direction you want to go, and your challenge will be the government. Some people, not the government, but some people, the GOP, who want to victimize you and hold you in a helpless place. They want you to be hopeless and helpless because that way they win and they're in control. But no, we don't have to do that. And especially with Mercury here trining Chiron, I think we really do, and especially Chiron right there hooked up with Eris, we really do want to fight. And we want to fight for our safety and security with a square to the sun here. And we are going to be talking about it with Mercury and Leo at 22 degrees of Leo. We're in that blooming, blossoming stage of I ain't shutting up. Okay, let's go to Friday. Friday, we have the full moon the moon comes in Capricorn at 1:15, about 1:14 a.m. Pacific time. But I set the chart for 5 a.m. because, who wants to hear that no matter what time you wake up, well, I have to say it, no matter what time you wake up in the morning, the moon will be in Capricorn. I know it's Friday. If you get Fridays off, you're still going to feel like working or getting something done because the moon's in Capricorn. And it's moving towards a full moon, right? So do your best to get the sleep that you need. And because, at least for me, the way it works, you guys tell me if I'm wrong, but for me, well, I know it's right for me, but tell me if I'm wrong about you guys. I feel that the harder we work to have our healthy boundaries and to shore up our lives in whatever way is needed, then we can relax and we sleep better. It's when we let things go and we avoid. I feel like avoidance is one of the biggest issues to get over. Putting things off, procrastination and avoidance, I think is what keeps us up at night. Or just basically worrying. But then, that's kind of a human trait that we have to work with. Lots of deep breathing and relaxation and not watching crazy stuff late at night. Keeping our devices away at night. Keeping the lights down. It's getting better. I mean, my friends in Australia, I know you guys have winter, but we've been going through here, and the further northern we live, the harder it is. We've been going through, besides the heat, intense levels of light for long, long, long hours. 4:30 in the morning till 9:30 at night. But it's getting better. The days are getting shorter. It's getting better. So I feel like a corner just turned the last couple days, I've noticed. Okay, so we can see we have Mars now at 29 degrees. So Mars is at that anaretic degree of Taurus. And so there's an intense... Mars wants to move energy. Well, Mars wants to go. Mars does move energy. But in Taurus, it can be intensely, I'm not going anywhere. My energy is going to sit right here. And that's okay because of this sextile to Neptune. See how the 29 degrees is here? So the deal is, it's good for meditation. It's good for going within and exploring your inner landscape and whatever you might be afraid of. But the movement's happening and the new ideas are going to come in soon enough. So it's fine to take your time and especially early in the morning to take your meditation time. It's also really, really good for figuring out what came through in dream time or taking notes as to your dreams. And then you can see we also have still the sun sextiling, or not, I'm sorry, the square, what am I saying? Forget that. The sun is sextile Uranus, so there's change happening there. Uranus is our change agent, and the sun, and they're both, in the later degrees, so we're in those, deepening our lessons, deepening and blooming and blossoming areas. And so we have all these opportunities to make the changes and grow. Make the changes, and these two signs, the Taurus and Cancer working together, could be in the body wisdom, intuitive hits, psychic abilities coming through, but empathic because of not only all this Piscean energy over here, and the Mars in Taurus and the Mars, Saturn in Pisces, or even Mars in Pisces. We're talking empathic gifts. Mars, I'm sorry, when I say Taurus, think in the body. Mars is our life force, so deepening in the body, bringing through awareness that you are. All of us have empathic gifts. All we have to do is just be open and be sensitive and not wall ourselves off and open our hearts. And that's the path. That's how it goes. So you can see also that we have Venus exactly trining the North Node. So Venus is over here in Leo saying, well, now we're at this place where our foundation is pretty strong, the courage is there, and we love sharing whatever our gifts are with each other, and we love the creative self-expression. And now we really know which way we want to go. And that path is clear. and it will continue on, and it will build and build and build. So that's beautiful. And you can also see the sextile over here to the south node. So Venus and Leo we have an opportunity to integrate something from the past, and it could be a relationship coming together, and it could be a new relationship that comes in. And then we have the trine. So we've got the aspect of the architect here with Venus at the bucket point, the hinge point between the nodes. So there's a buildable opportunity here, and it could come in really quickly. There could be wonderful opportunities that come in on Friday, and we're building up to that full moon in Capricorn. So yay. Let's see. We still have that inconjunct going on there. The moon's getting closer. Let's go ahead and move some hours forward. See how long it takes for us to get to. Yeah, it's going to be quite later, into the afternoon, but the moon will be close enough. Even this is 5 p.m. I'm going to say any time after noon. Pacific time, with the moon conjunct Ceres, there really is that wanting, because the moon connects the dots. It helps us nurture something, whatever it is that we're wanting. And in Capricorn, we don't mind working hard for it, but it is an element of concrete reality, concrete stabilization in your life, something that functions correctly. It's like the nuts and bolts of life. When we're talking about Capricorn, it's structure. Like in the body, it's not only our bones and our teeth, it's also our connective tissue and muscles, all of that. So you can see we've got a square between the nodes with the moon at T-square. So this is all happening before the full moon. So before the full moon, we're going to be feeling, okay, I know where I've been in the past. I know where I want to go in the future. And the moon in Capricorn's, okay, now I've got to do that hard work to get it done. You start taking more self-responsibility when every time the moon, comes around in Capricorn. So yeah, and that will continue on. And with the two sesquisquares here coming off of the moon, one, oh my goodness, one to Uranus, and the other to Mercury, there's a lot there will be a lot of I think intuitive, divine mind connections, communication coming through, where people will just get something really, ingenious maybe, and something very helpful, and then because of that, then it might kind of feel disruptive, but it's like, oh, wait a minute, if you take advantage of that information, you might not mind it. It will definitely create change, because that's the nature of the sesquisquares, is there's that change, that disruption that comes in. But it's okay if you don't mind working with it. And then you can see there's another one coming from Mercury to the North Node. So that could really just set you, on your path in a new way, even though it's like, I thought I had it all figured out. So there's so much going on Friday. Okay, let's go ahead and go to Saturday. Now Saturday, and this happens at 1:44 in the afternoon, we have Mars move into Gemini. So now there's a lot of information coming out. The energy, Saturday, maybe Friday, something, it's possible that there's a Friday night news dump of something, and then Saturday we're all talking about it. Mars moves energy, and then in the sign of Gemini, it's communication, it's information. It is connecting the dots, and hopefully, opening up to more opportunities, because, there's more information. When you have more information, well, sometimes it's TMI, right? Sometimes it's enough. But once you've connected the dots into understanding how to get where you want to go. It's kind of like, a map. And an astrology chart really is a map. But imagine that you get in your car and you're using Google Maps or your nav system or whatever. Once you see the steps and the dots of how to get to where you're going, then you can focus. So even though Gemini can bring in a lot of, opposing, opinions and things like that, it still can help you focus. And notice that as soon as Mars moves into Gemini, it also trines Pluto. And Pluto is retrograded back, we've made it back, 55 minutes here, so it's really still about 1 degree, but it's now at 0 degrees. So Mars can move some powerful information with this connection here, as Pluto's power. Or it could be a quick understanding of people in power, and we're all talking about it, and what are they doing, that kind of a thing. And Mars is also sextiling Neptune, so it could be that we're seeing that we have an opportunity to understand the delusion that they're coming from and the perpetration that they're trying to place onto victims, and how gullible some people can be. Or in the light, using all this energy in the light, we could have the energy, we can have downloads from our source, angels, guides, and we can have that type of spiritual download of information that helps us to be more empowered or to powerfully move forward in our lives. So there's that. Let's see. Mercury is in an exact trine to, while Mars is moving in Gemini now, Mercury, the ruler of Gemini, is trining Eris in Aries. So again, there's that courage to speak up, the courage to express yourself in whatever way is appropriate for you. And it can be big, and that's okay. It's okay. And it can also be fun. I mean, Leo can be just like the kid, child fun. So can Pisces. Pisces can be very blissful and fun. Pisces, most Pisces people really have a good imagination, and they tend to be pretty darn creative. Now, for sure, Leo is creative self-expression. So we might be talking more about that. And of course, we still have, the sesquisquare up to Ceres, so it's going to be their creative self-expression in order to, the ways, we're going to be talking about all the ways to be more secure. And you can see how the moon, we don't have the full moon yet, but we're getting close. The moon is approaching, it's in between Ceres. The moon hooked up with Ceres to understand, what is it that we need to do to create a more stable, solid foundation. And there's now in this 21 degrees, we're deepening those lessons, and maybe the foundation has been laid, and then we're moving towards more power as the moon hooks up with Pluto. Because as soon as the moon is, the full moon comes, it's at 29 degrees. Well, here, let's just go ahead and go there. Sunday. What is that? 3:17 a.m. So it's early in the morning. In fact, when you wake up Sunday morning, it's most likely that the full moon already happened, and you saw it the last couple of nights in the sky, and by the time you wake up, the moon will be in Aquarius. Because the moon actually hits Aquarius at 4:43 a.m. But the full moon is when it's full, when it's opposing the sun exactly. And this is our second full moon in Capricorn, but this month. But when it happens, it's hitting up Pluto. So this is a powerful full moon, a very, very powerful full moon. And my prayer for you guys is that you find your deep inner power where you are in your integrity and you're free with Pluto and Aquarius. You have that freedom to know who you truly are deep in your bones, and you're living from that place of integrity, your own inner authority, because that is the wonderful thing about Capricorn in the best light. And you can see that there's also a sextile, because the moon's at 29 degrees, now it's sextile Neptune. So there's that spiritual source energy coming into that very, earthy full moon. And Neptune is also trining. So here again, there's that aspect of the architect with Neptune now trining the sun. So Neptune's in that very powerful position, not only of being the very slow moving planet, but holding space there for everyone to get inside of their source energy, to know that they have a spirit team, to know that we all have our guides and our guardian angels to help us, and they want to help us, but we have to ask them, because they don't, unless it's a situation for like some divine intervention, which does happen sometimes, but usually the rule is that they don't violate our free will. So they'll be there waiting and waiting and waiting, but you have to ask. You have to ask for help. You have to say, oh, I do have help. I'm not alone in life. We're never alone in life. We have a huge, well, this is what I believe anyways, that we have a huge spirit team with us all the time, and we can vibe in some new ones and ask for support. You can have a whole new spirit team for one certain project you've got going on, and then they'll go help someone else, or maybe they stay with you forever. Depends on what type of a relationship you want with them, but they're there to help. That's their job. They love working. They love helping. So there's that. Now we also have the sextile here from Neptune coming over to Mars, right? Because you can see that tide orb there. So there's that energy to get information from your guides and to use it in very powerful ways, and then to grow. So that's that combination right there of so the moon, the full moon, hooked up with Neptune, with source energy, hooked up with Mars wanting to get the information, and then also the trying to at Cancer at that very nth degree of the sign, 29 degrees, that anaretic degree, which can be super intense, and there can be an intense growth producing experience that happens by connecting to your guides and your guardian angels. Now, this could all happen in dream time as well. So, if there's any chance of you guys having dreamtime guidance, I would think, this week, I would think it's Saturday night into Sunday morning. So, yeah. Let's see, anything else? Uranus square Mercury. Could be that dreamtime guidance or meditation guidance or some other information, it kind of, bumps up against you. You've got a little tension field going on there with that square, but it could also turn into a major source of strength, because Mercury to Uranus is, like lightning information and connected to divine mind. And right in that solar plexus, direct knowing area of your body, third chakra, direct knowing. And with Uranus in Taurus, it's, in the body. So I think this looks really good. Venus in conjunct the Ceres up here, that aspect could bring through the need for making an adjustment to create more harmony in your life. And you don't mind making that type of an adjustment. but it would, something feels off if you don't make the adjustment. So again, I really do feel like you guys are probably going to get some really good downloads or information. And if it doesn't come through where you feel like, okay, I got for sure that was something that came from my guides, it might come through friends. It may very well come through friends or acquaintances, or it could be even somebody helping you on the phone with something, and they say something, and you go, kind of sparks your ears go up a little bit, and then an hour later somebody says the exact same thing, or maybe you hear it from a friend, and then you hear it on the news, or maybe someone's helping you, and or you're helping them, and it comes out of your mouth. Then later on, somebody says the same thing back to you, but they're completely unrelated situations. Things like that, those coinky-dinks, that aren't really coinky-dinks. They are that divine synchronicity. So that's all I have for this week. I think that's probably more than enough, and I await your wonderful comments. I absolutely love your comments. Okay, you guys, take care. Bye.